All right, everybody, we're here on 8.4 now, looking at actual data manipulation language commands, the additional DML. So far we've done select. That's our read and CRUD. That's the only thing we've done. So now we're going to look at how we add data, or create it, or insert it, how we update data, update, and how we delete data with delete. So the first one is insert. So the syntax, you say insert into, and then the name of the table. So I want to insert into customer. Now, there's two ways to do this. The first way is you just are going to give it every value in the table, and then we say values, and then in a set of parentheses we give it, okay, what's the first thing? So my ID, how about number 1, last name Charneski, and we use single apostrophes here for quoted strings, not double quotes, or varchars, and then first name Eric. So I can insert into customer the values of 1, Charneski, and Eric here. Great, so I can add this into the table. I'm going to go ahead and run it here. And now my table will actually have some data in it, which is much more interesting if we do like a select query. It's thinking hard about it. There we go. So it inserted the one row. So now if we do select star from customer, if we want to get out all the values here and run that one, we should see now we have one row with ID 1, last name Charneski, first name Eric, because that's what we inserted. So you insert into table values, and you just comma separate your list of values. Now, that way is fine, but a better way, probably a safer approach, in case the table structure ever changes, is to use specified column names. And it's also helpful if you have default values for things. Those are essentially optional columns at that point. If it will have a default value, or if it can take null, you don't have to give it a value here. So the preferred way, you're going to say insert into customer, and then in a set of parentheses, you're going to give it the list of attributes, the list of fields you're going to give it. So I'll say ID, last name, first name. Then I'll say values, 2, and then we'll add, how about we add Bob Smith, maybe. Single quotes, Bob. So I'm going to say, okay, the first thing is ID, the second thing is last name, the third thing is first name. So this is safer because we're specifying exactly what order those attributes go in, the columns go in, rather than the order in which they're defined at the database. So you're less likely to run into trouble here. And then if things do change down the road, your inserts will still work if you've added columns, assuming they have defaults or are nullable, that sort of thing. And if any of these fields are null, I could just give it instead null here, or I could just not specify it. Here I could say just, hey, insert Smith for last name and ID. And I can insert that. So if first name is nullable, if it doesn't have the not null constraint, then you're allowed to not give it a value, and it will have null for it. Which again, nulls are really awkward and confusing, because does that mean they don't have a first name, or we just don't know what their first name is, or their first name is blank, that sort of thing. It can get a little funny here. Now, another cool thing you can do with this tool, you can right-click and say open, and it's going to give you a view of the table here, like kind of an administrative view, and then there's the data tab here, which is just a quick, gives you everything, and you'll see, hey, here's ID, here's null, right? So we're not getting in any particular order, but that's okay, right? We're getting our data out here as well, so you can see that. So that's kind of a nice way to go about it here. So you don't have to go back and forth with your selects and things. You can just open the table with that view. So inserts, right? We can insert, and then how about we add a product here? So insert into product. We give it an ID, a name, and a price. And then we want values. How about ID 1? How about name? Let's call this one a hamburger, because I'm hungry right now. Make a hamburger, and the price is $2.50. Okay, so we'll insert into product our hamburger for $2.50. And then we can make an order here. Oh, I think we messed up our field here. Was number without a decimal place. Let's go and take a look. Looks like it's going to yell at me. I thought it did for a second there. Maybe it'll go. This is just super slow when I'm also doing the streaming here. It uses up a lot of resources because it's obnoxious. No, it did work. Okay, awesome. It did work here. So then, right, I can go take a look at product, and I can open that one up and look at the data. And this is a little quicker than those selects here. And we see a hamburger. Oh, okay, so it did change it. It looks like we're only doing integer values. So we can fix that in our data model. No big deal here. So the type here then, right, needs to be probably, we want more length here. Oh, it's not letting me change it. That's right. Can't actually go and change that column. That's okay. We could add a new column here. We could do that. We could practice some of the examples here for fun. So let's update, or no, we want to alter table product. We want to add a, I don't know, we'll say another price. I don't know what's a better name for price here. So price 2, sure, which is a number. We'll say this one could be like maybe 10 long with 2 decimal places here. Let's see if we can add that one. So we'll add that field to it here. Okay, so we added that one, and now we want to drop column price. We want to get rid of price here, get rid of it in our list. So we'll run that to get rid of price. So if I refresh my view, I should see in product, now I see price 2, and now we want to change the name of that. So it's alter table product, and now I'm going to say rename column price 2 to price. I'm going to fix it and change the name here from price 2 to price. We can rename our column here. Put that back to price. And now I don't have, though, a value there. And if I go and look at this now, give it a quick look and look at the data here, it's null because it wasn't there. So we need to go change that value. So to update data, right? So we can insert data. To update data, you say update table. I'm going to update table product. Now we say set. So we're going to set what? We're going to set price equal to, what do we say, 2.5 here. Oops. No, is it just, it's just update. My goodness. It's too late here. I need some more coffee. So we're going to update the product table. We're going to set the price to 250 where the ID equals 1. Because we only want to update one row in the table. So where our ID is 1, we want to update it. Without the where clause, it's going to update all the entries in the table, all the rows. So where clause is super important when you're doing updates. Let's see if that'll add our price for us here. Okay, and then we'll take a look at product. It says one row was updated. Take a look at the data. And now we should have our price here. Awesome. So now we have our ID, our name, and our price. Now that we have customers and we have products, I can add an order. So we're going to insert. So we're going to insert into order. And again, I'm going to give it the list of things. So it's an ID, a customer ID, customer ID, product ID, date and time, current, product price, and quantity. Values of, okay, this will be the first order. Customer ID is 1 for Eric, product ID is 1 for Hamburger. Date and time, we can say sys date to get the current date and time, or we could give it, that nice formatted string for it here. And then the current product price, we said was $2.50 for the hamburger, and I'm going to buy 2 of them here because I'm really hungry. So it's only going to work if there is a valid key for customer ID, right, that relates here, and if there's a valid product for the product ID here, right, those foreign keys are going to get checked. We should be able to add that here. And then let's take a look at our order table in a second after that one's done. Oops. What? Did not order? Oh, the order, it has meaning. It's a reserved word in databases, so I need to say in a quote order, right? So quote order. That's why it was upset with me. Maybe it was double quotes. Let's give it a shot here. I think it was double quotes. Yeah, unexpected symbol. Let's try that one more time. Here, let's try some double quotes. That's why in the DML it looked a little, or the DDL it looked a little funny with the order. Come on. Maybe this one will work for us here. Thinking hard about this one. Oh. doesn't exist. No, did it not add it? Let's see. I don't think it added it. Nope, didn't add it. You can also use this create row, which is cool. Why isn't that giving me? Doesn't even give me create row. Really unhappy with my table. Okay, close. Oh goodness. I think I broke the online tool. Let me just see if I can reload the page. Oh dear. See if this reloads for us here. Come on, refresh. All right, cool. We got our table back. Let's see if this one runs for us here. When you put it in quotes, it is case sensitive. That's my mistakes for not following the proper naming here. So it's capital O order here. Now we should be able to insert into it. Thank you, Oracle, for being case sensitive. Oh, current product price is invalid. I think I must have spelled something wrong here. So we want, there's two R's in current, right? Current product price. Give that a try. This is good. These are things you're going to run into. These are obviously I'm doing this on purpose so you see the sort of errors that you might run into in when you're playing around with the database here. All right, now we get one row inserted. Hooray, we finally get some data here. Now I can see then, right, I've got data here in the order table. We get IDs, customer IDs, product IDs, current price, quantities. Oh, we have the same problem with the current product price. Our number field there was off as well. Oh, goodness. All right, well, we can go fix that. So I'm going to save this for a second here, and I'm going to come back and I want to, if you want to remove data, it's delete. You say delete from order, and ours is quote order, where, and again, usually you want the where clause because that will specify only what you want to delete. Right, so we're going to say where ID equals 1. Just delete the first one here. You can run delete from order. It will delete everything from it. So it's, generally you always want to have those where clauses in here. And go delete. Okay, and then we can modify our product ID here. So let's go to open our table here, change our column, current price. We change this to number. No, didn't let me do that. Thought we could do it if it was empty there, but that's okay. So we'll alter the table, right? So we need to alter table order. We're going to add column current price. Oh, let's try modify. Let's try modify. Modify current product price. Let's make it a number. What do we say, like 10-2. Let's see if we can run this one here. So it's upset. It has a little red line. Usually you would end your commands with a semicolon. So if you're running multiple commands, it expects semicolons after them. All right, cool. It looks like it did let us modify that one. Let's double check. It was empty, so I think it's going to let us here. Yeah, there we go, our number here. So now when we insert again, it should be a little bit nicer for us, and we can keep that 2.5. Right, that was the current price for product. All right. We get it. It's inserting. Awesome. So we got our row inserted. Fantastic. So now we can go and actually do some selects now. So we've updated, we've inserted, we've deleted, and now we can go back and do a select, right? So if I want to get all that information, I can say select, and maybe we just want star for now because that's easy, from customer, and we want to inner join quote, order on order dot customer. Nope. This quoting here is going to be super annoying. I'm sorry. customer ID equals customer.id. We want to interjoin product on product.id is the order.product.id. Let's see if that syntax works for us. I'm tempted to rename this order table because order is a reserved word. Should have thought of that in this example. Oh, look at that, it did work. Okay, so as long as we're quoting order, it'll be okay. It's just a little bit obnoxious. So we get all the things from customer first, then we're going to get all the things from order next, then we're going to get all the things from product. Okay, doing that select with joining on all of our tables here. So we can add data with our inserts, we can update data with updates, we can delete data with delete. And the other thing that's going to happen, right, if you try and delete from customer, if you have something in order that relates to that customer, right, and I'm going to be good here and say where ID equals 1, only delete 1, I don't want to delete my whole table, it's going to fail here because that would violate our referential integrity. Remember, one of the jobs of a relational database management system is to maintain its referential integrity, right? Saying, hey, integrity constraint, foreign key, violated, child record found. No good. You can't delete this customer because there's an order that relates to that customer. Okay, that's really important. And then another thing you can do, just like you can create tables with selects, you can insert into tables with selects. Not super useful for the examples we're working on right now, but if you want to select some list of tables, some list of columns from one table, you can insert them into another table. So it's insert into the name of the table. So we like insert into customer, and then which columns we wanted here. Again, ID, last name, first name. So insert into is the same, right? But then we say instead of values, we say select. And what are we going to select? So then you can select values from another table. And for our purposes, we don't really have any good examples here. You can go through the book. It looks at a part table that it makes from the product table to kind of specify that. And then the last bit that doesn't work for us with this online tool, unfortunately, is this idea of transactions. In a full client relational database management system, you can generally start a transaction, and we'll talk more about that in chapter 10, that will be one unit of work that we can then commit. So the idea with the commit is it's saving that transaction to the database. So you can kind of work in this draft state, and then you can either commit it if you like it, or you can roll it back if you don't like it. There's a couple other cool things that work with transactions we'll talk more about when we get to chapter 10 as well. Some really neat things that happen behind the scenes with databases. They actually do a whole lot of really cool things. Other fun things for update commands, right, is not just, hey, I want to give it a particular value. I could say, hey, let's update product, and we're just going to increase the price of everything. Let's set price equals, let's do price plus 1. So every product, let's just add $1 to it. Again, we only have one product in here currently, but we can update whatever the price happens to be, and we'll add $1 to it, or you could multiply by 1.1, and hey, everything is going up 10% now for all of our products. And it's an easy way to update everything in here as well. So you can use existing values in the arithmetic that then get set to something here, which is pretty cool. Yep, and then our commits, the rollback. Again, we can't really roll back right now because we don't have that. And then that's about as far as we're going to go in chapter 8 for now. There is a little bit more complex topics here, looking at views, their virtual tables, procedural SQL, where you can have a stored procedure or embedded SQL. Those are more advanced topics that we don't need to cover at this point. So just for now, let's stick with sections 1 through 4, looking at our data definition language, and then the data manipulation language, our inserts, updates, and deletes. And we can go from there. Thanks, folks.